Lori here. I'm here to do my November reading wrap up. This video I'm doing a really early, so I'm probably gonna add some clips at the end to say what I did finish reading the last week of November. I actually this reading month was a little bit challenging, I would say, because so much stuff went on this month. Like there was a bunch of stuff going on, just like in my life and in teaching. So I had a lot of stressful weeks at school, and it just made reading a little bit more challenging. But I did actually like what I read. It just was like a slower reading month. Everything I read was, I did enjoy most of the stuff that I read, but it was just a little bit more challenging to read this month. I'm hoping that with December and with me actually prepped a little bit more, I can like enjoy time to read. I had to do grades, and there was a bunch of projects that were due, and grades were due. So this is a lot of like little stuff that I just had to do. But I'm hopeful that now it's December, I can relax a little bit, get ready for Christmas and the holidays, and just read. I have so many books to read. My December TBR pile is probably gonna like knock you over the head because it's so many books, but hopefully I do accomplish them. So right at the recording of this video, I did wind up reading two, one, two, three, four, five, six. I did wind up reading 6 books, and I listened to one, and I'm in the middle of reading a couple, so hopefully that will like come in at the end when I come back at the end. And I'm also in the middle of reading Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. It is my goal is to finish that book before the end of the year. So I'm making progress. It's just a slower pace than I would like. But the first book that I did wind up finishing in the month of November was Little White Lies by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I've enjoyed all of Jennifer Lynn Barnes' other books. I love them. I love the Natural series. I love the Fixer series. This book I was actually really looking forward to. It was one of the books that I really wanted from BEA, and I was so happy to actually get a copy early. And I really liked it. It's about this girl named Sawyer, and she winds up having to go back to confront a past that she didn't even know existed, really, when she's asked to be a debutante for her grandmother. And it's a Southern Belle book. There was a lot of like subtle mysteries in the book, and I really like them. I'm really excited to see where like book 2 goes, because this definitely was like a setup book, and I thought the mysteries, Jennifer Lynn Barnes' mysteries are normally like really intense, and there's murder and there's death and there's serial killers. So this was definitely like, it reminded me a little bit of PLL, especially there's like one episode in Pretty Little Liars where it's like dual timelines, so you see what's going on, but you get it slowly throughout the book. I like that. And I just really like the characters. I thought it was like a really light, it was like a lighter read, and I liked it. I gave it to a girl in my homeroom, so I don't have it anymore. But the physical book has really cool like pictures in it too, which I really liked. But yeah, I really liked it. I really can't wait for book 2. And I really enjoyed it. So I gave that book like 3.5, 4 stars. It was definitely like a fun read, and it was a really long read too, but I really enjoyed it. I was really captured by the characters. I thought the plotting was really interesting. I love the 2 timelines that we got, and I really liked it. So if you're looking for kind of like a book kind of like Pretty Little Liars, but with characters that are so well drawn, I would definitely check out Little White Lies by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, because I actually really like that book. The next book was an audiobook, and it was also the Time Warp YA Book Club book for the month of November, and that was Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I will admit, this book was not my favorite, and I think I really struggled listening to it, which is how I chose to read this book, and I just think I struggled to follow along. There was so many different characters. I only gave it 3 stars. I'm really liking Crooked Kingdom, which I'll talk about at the end of this video. But I did like being back in the world. I think I just missed the characters that I knew and loved. Like, I missed Nikolai, I missed Alina. So I missed all those characters. It just took me a little while to warm up to these characters. But in the end, I liked the book. I didn't love it, so I only gave it 3 stars. But I know that people adored this book, and I'm definitely going to give it another chance in the future. But I am liking Crooked Kingdom a lot more, so take that for what it's worth. But here is a picture. The next book that I wound up picking up was a library choice, and that was A Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy by Mackenzie Lee. around this time last year, I wound up reading A Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, and this was just so fun. I really liked this book. I gave this book like 4 stars, 4.5 stars if I'm being a little bit generous, but I really liked it. I loved the representation. I loved being in Felicity's head. I thought the pacing, and I said this with Gentleman Guide, it's a really long book, and I think the pacing struggled with that a little bit. There was a lot of, it wasn't the book that I was expecting to get regarding the title. So I thought I was going to get a totally different book than what I got, but I still really liked it. I loved how there was a trio of girl characters and they were all super different. I love we got to see Monty and Percy again, which I really liked. And it was just so fun. It was just a really, really fun read. I flew through it. It was a very, very large book though. But so I really liked it. I will be really excited to see if she writes more in that series and who our next lead character will be. But it was just really, really fun. And I needed an adventure book, and that's exactly what I got. So I really liked it. Gave it 4.5 stars, 4.25 more. But yeah, I really liked it. I'm excited to see what she comes out with next. After both Little White Lies and The Lady's Guide, I needed some short books, so I wound up picking up a couple of middle grade, and the first book that I wound up picking up was The Van Beekers and the Hidden Garden by Karen Glaser. During Christmas last year, I wound up picking up The Van Beekers of 141st Street, which was a Christmas-themed novel, and I really liked it. I thought it was so cute. I actually might wind up rereading that book next month just for the hell of it because I really, really liked it. But this book was really, really fun. It was definitely set in the summer, so I'd recommend reading it in the summer. But I just found it cute. I really love this family. I loved how this one dealt with like summer things, but also dealt with like nature and also dealt with older people and trying to do nice things for them. And it just was such a fun read. I loved it. It just made me smile, and I love this family so much. I feel like I could walk across them on the street and just be like, "You're the Van Beekers." But it was so, so cute. I definitely cannot wait for book 3, which is coming out next year. I'll definitely be checking that book out as well. But this book was just so fun. If you have like younger kids and they have a big family and they want to like see themselves immortalized, or you have an only child like me and always wanted to know what it was like to have a really big family in a realistic setting, this book is definitely one I would recommend. It was just so fun, and I really liked it. Keeping along with my middle grade choice, and a girl in my homeroom was reading Magic Misfits Book 1, and I had Magic Misfits Book 2, so I wanted to pass it along to her before the holidays. So I did wind up finishing Magic Misfits, A Second Story. This book was so cute. I love that we followed a different misfit in this and really got inside her head. I thought the story was like, and the mystery was really fun, and I'm excited to see like what happens in the subsequent books in the series. There was definitely a lot revealed. I think it was a lot of like a setup book, but I'm really excited. I thought it was super fun. I love the magic tricks that we got. I would definitely recommend you either get the audiobook or like the finished copy if you're a book reviewer or have young kids, because there is like magic tricks missing in the arc. So I'll definitely probably get the audiobook. I got the audiobook for book 1 for $1 at some point, so I'll probably do that if I ever wind up seeing it for book 2. But I really liked it. I loved being in Layla's head. I loved getting inside her head. I loved seeing how Neil tells the story. And I'm really excited to see what character we follow next, but it was definitely a very fast-paced read. This book was also much bigger than the first book. I think the first book was like not even 300 pages. This book was about 350, I would say, but I actually really liked it. I thought it was a super fun read, and it definitely kept me engaged and reading. I finished reading at this point. This is November 25th. Was The Mortal Coil by Emily Suvada. I've heard amazing things about this book, and I did have book 2 out of the library, which is why I picked this one up. I liked it. I didn't love it. I think the pacing had some issues for me, and I wasn't as connected to the characters as I wanted to be. So I didn't love it, but I liked it. I'm hoping that book 2 just had itis like book 1. You know how sometimes book 2 has an itis? I think book 1 for me had that itis. And I at the end I realized why we weren't as connected to the characters, and it made a lot of sense, but I really liked it. I thought the focus on science and realisticity was really interesting. It definitely was a fast-paced thriller. I just wasn't as connected to the story as I wanted to be. But it still kept me engaged. I it was more of like a book that when I was reading it, I was super engaged, but to pick it back up, I wasn't that engaged to pick it back up, if that makes any sense. It took me a while to read this. I think it took me about 2 weeks to read this, and that's definitely not how I normally read. But this was also during the time that I was going through a lot at work, so that's maybe why it took me so long. But overall, I liked it. I gave it 4 stars. I'm definitely excited to read The Cruel Design. I'll probably take it at the library at like a later time. But yeah, overall, I liked it. I didn't love it. At the current moment, I am reading A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kimmerer. And as I talked about in my reading blog, I am on page 180 at this book. This book is also literally almost 500 pages, so my whole goal this week is just to finish this so I can move on to other stuff. If I can finish this before Friday, that would actually be great. But I'm reading this. I'm also reading A Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo, and I'm also reading Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. I'm also really want to start Lord of Shadows, but hopefully by the time I get to the end of this video, I can tell you guys about that progress. So let's see what I wind up finishing reading. Cue clip here. Hey guys, Laura here. I'm just checking back in. I just wanted to finish this November reading wrap up. Today is November 30th, and I did actually make a lot more reading progress. Well, some reading progress. But I did want to finish reading Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. I did like this series. It definitely wasn't my favorite. I think I preferred the Shadow and Bone series just because I think I read it and I was just a little bit more engaged. I did like the audiobooks, but I didn't love them. But I did like it. I gave it like 4 stars. Definitely better than Six of Crows. I think I like the deep dive into the characters, and I'm really excited to be moving on to the Thorn of Glass series next month. And I did wind up finishing A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kimmerer. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and it comes out January 29th from Bloomsbury. I did receive this arc from BEA last year, and I actually really enjoyed this book. It was super fun. It was definitely a very slow burn Beauty and the Beast retelling. Like, it was just really well crafted. I really liked it. This book definitely did have slow moments. Towards the middle, I would say, and towards the end, I think the ending was like a little bit rushed. There was some pretty big reveals in the last 20 pages that I wished were like fleshed out like a little bit more, and I'm sure they will in book 2 when it comes out. I did like the unexpected additional point of view that we got. I like that. It was just a really nice atmospheric read. I really liked it. I love this Beauty and the Beast retelling. I love both the point of view characters. I definitely would give this book like 4.5 stars. I just thought the pacing sometimes was a little bit slow and the ending was a little bit rushed, but I overall really liked it. So this was the last book I finished. And I am participating in the 'Tis the Season-a-thon hosted by Super Space Trick, but I wanted to pick up something super short, so I wound up purchasing Comics Will Break Your Heart by Faith Erin Hicks, and this is a novel about it's like a Romeo and Juliet retelling, or story basically. It's about this girl named Miriam, and her grandfather started this like superhero empire. He was an artist. But his co-creator basically stole the rights, and her family basically gets like limited to no money. But when based on those properties, but when the person who stole the rights, when his grandson Weldon comes to town, sparks start to fly or not. I am literally 88 pages in. This book is not that long. It's only like 310 pages, but it's definitely a slower contemporary. It deals with like a lot of other issues. I do like both point of view characters. They're really interesting. I literally just started this, and I might actually wind up putting this down and reading some of my holiday themed books. We will see. We will see what happens. But overall, it's just cute. It's like something to like kind of forget about everything else and just kind of focus on a fun romance. So this was the book that I did finish reading, or I'm in the middle of reading. But yeah, I will talk to you guys next month for my December reading wrap up, and make sure you go check out my December TBR video. It will be the video posted after this. But I will talk to you guys later.